Hi, welcome to Her Legal Lens. Okay, so it is 2:03. We are streaming live here as my first live stream. I'm in practice for when Kelly Sanders gets back. Either way, we have a verdict on the Commonwealth versus Kelsey Fitzsimmons case. And this is the moment that we have been waiting for. We're going to hear from Judge Karp. I assume he's coming in soon. I thought at first that the verdict was going to be read at 1:30. Then we were told it's going to be read at 2 o'clock. I'm gathering that everybody is probably entering in the courtroom and getting their seats and figuring all that out. So after, 3 days of testimony, we had closings and then about a couple of hours for deliberation. Judge Karp has made a decision, and he's going to read it on the record for everyone. Now, for the parties involved, this is an incredibly stressful moment. Everybody's coming into court.
CR 311, all counsel and the defendant are present.
Thank you. So, before I begin, I'd like to speak to our audience members. I understand that this case has generated a lot of passion and emotion, but you must remember that this is a courtroom and not a sports arena. When I announce my verdict, you must not act out emotionally or visibly or audibly react. So you should leave the courtroom if you believe that you will be unable to maintain your composure. I'd like to start with a few introductory words. Let me say this. This is not in my script.
I'm going to try to redo the sound here.
This has been one of the more exhausting, hardest things I've had to do as a judge, as an attorney. And so, as the lawyers know, unlike when a judge presides over a jury waive trial, there's no requirement that a judge explain their reasons for reaching a verdict after a criminal bench trial. I do so in this case because I think that Ms. Fitzsimmons, Officer Noonan, and all the people involved in the tragic events of June 30, 2025 deserve an explanation. Next, I'd like to take the opportunity to publicly thank and commend the attorneys in this case. They all did an exceptional job presenting the evidence and conducting themselves in an extremely professional and civil manner. And they did so under the public spotlight in an emotionally charged case. I commend you. To the extent that any of the prosecutors and attorneys may be vilified or subjected to public scorn for simply doing their jobs, in this case, I say that any such scorn is unfair. Is simply wrong. These prosecutors and attorneys fought hard to perform their solemn jobs fairly with the utmost civility, clarity, and professionalism. They serve as a shining example of our adversarial system in operation. Now, I'd like to publicly acknowledge the crucial and often thankless role that police officers perform, a role that Ms. Fitzsimmons herself, like Officer Noonan, willingly and selflessly performed for the citizens of Pennsylvania. For this, you should be thanked, not disparaged. For those that think that serving as a police officer is easy, or that I think that the work of police officers is especially fraught with peril. That because of our extremely central that without her ever asking this guy about pulling the trigger. I disagree that the evidence reflects that knowing where the chamber line may have been simple to slide under those circumstances. However, even if I assume that Mr. Fitzsimmons might have not actually slide, it does not detract from the adamantly the credibility of the testimony that she never fully presented opportunity. Probably he was equally as adamant that he did. Perhaps the couple could have easily met this burden if the officers had been very body cameras. But under these circumstances, I am left with a reasonable doubt, and I am truly bound to find that the Commonwealth has not mandatory to do what Fitzsimmons committed himself. I mean, to dangerous weapons, not to use. And my verdict is, it must be not guilty. With that, I will be able to sign verdict slip.
All right. Well, I think there you go. So it was a not guilty, and I think we anticipated that. Judge Karp, very thoughtful decision, and I think we talked about prior after the closings that ultimately he was going to have to find that there was intent there, and there just wasn't that. The Commonwealth did not present the evidence to show that Kelsey had any intent to point that gun at Officer Noonan. And, likewise, he pointed out what we had talked about earlier as well, or what I talked about last night, which is that both officers testified credibly. And when you have that kind of testimony coming in and you believe them both, again, I believe that Officer Noonan believed what he said, that he saw the gun and believed it was being pointed at him. I do believe, though, because of the familiarity between the two, that there was a brief moment, and I credit Kelsey's testimony, that he left her unattended and she was able to get her gun in order to attempt to kill herself. And I think that that was really the moment where she was able to get the opportunity. She obviously tried to take her own life. She failed at that gratefully. But at the end of the day, you have two officers. I think I would have, I'm not the Commonwealth. I don't, I'm not trying to say that the prosecutor did not do a good job, obviously, but I did not think it was a good strategy to discredit either of these officers. Again, we have a woman who's in a mental health crisis, law enforcement officer. We have a law enforcement officer helping a woman law enforcement officer in a mental health crisis. There is no bad person here. And again, we did not hear anger from Kelsey towards Officer Noonan, and I think that's really important. She did not testify to that. She understood that because she had taken the gun, she knew there was a threat, and that's why she was trying to get rid of everybody. And she never wanted to put that on Officer Noonan. So I think this was the just decision. I think Judge Karp did a phenomenal job reading that verdict. And I hope that Officer Noonan is able to go back and watch Kelsey's testimony with some grace. Likewise, she got to see Officer Noonan testify and heard, what I suspect is a lot of fear and, probably anger that he absolutely was put in that position. I don't think that he's the bad guy in that sense, and neither is she. This was a tragic incident that occurred. I do think that the judge made the right decision, and I'm grateful for you watching. I'm sorry if we had some sound issues. I am practicing this as we go. So thank you so much. Her Legal Lens, like and subscribe.